What's going on, everybody? Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. I hope, as always, all of y'all are having a fantastic day, boys and gals. I wanted to get a stream, say Merry Christmas to everyone as well. I don't believe I'm actually going to be doing a stream on Wednesday. So Wednesday was the last Wednesday, my dudes, of 2024. Can you believe we are almost done with the year, guys? We have a little over a week remaining, about 8 days left. And boy, oh boy, what a crazy time 2024 was. We had some excitement in the beginning of the year, a lot of a depression zone once again entered in the middle of the year, and back to the excitement toward the end of the year. And that excitement that you're feeling right there, just getting started, folks, because 2025, in my opinion, it's going to be absolutely incredible. We got a lot of good things going for us. A lot of good things going for us, let alone, or not only to mention, with the actual presidential cabinet being very pro-crypto friendly, Gary Gensler being out of the office January 20th, and a lot of these, hopefully, SEC attacks that they've been doing should cease and desist. But as always, folks, I hope y'all are all having a fantastic day, guys. I really do. Let me just make sure, of course, I'm live. Let me say hello to some beautiful people who are here. And yes, see what is going on. I see Tentop in the house. What's up? What's up? Merry Hexmas as well. Absolutely. Yeah, I see Tentop in the house right here. Merry Hexmas. What's up, Hexicans? Merry Hexmas and mad gains all next year. Facts on facts on facts. What is up? What is up, Digital Farmer? I hope y'all all having a fantastic day, guys. I really do. Yeah, we're just gonna be diving into sound good. Hey, appreciate that. Appreciate. So stream is live, all is good. It looks like everything is out right now. Let me try something out. I don't think I've shared this little chat box. Let me see if this shows up on the screen. It sure does. It sure does. Okay, cool. So I'm gonna have to probably change some settings. As I can already see, it's a little bit difficult to read on the screen already. But I see Derek Purcell in the chat. Hello, ATX, and happy holidays to you and yours as well, gentlemen and ladies. What y'all got going on, man? What are y'all doing for your holidays, man? Anyone going out of town? Anyone traveling far for the holidays? This time around, we actually have my mother-in-law coming to stay at our house, so that should be a fun, exciting time as well. We're gonna be going horseback riding and doing a whole bunch of other stuff as well. Being in Texas, the weather is looking to be fantastic. How's the weather in your neck of the woods as well? Because in some places I've been seeing some crazy snow, but again, like, I think right now we have a week of basically 70s here where I'm at. So it's going to be some pretty freaking awesome weather coming up as well. Yeah, definitely need to change the font on the overall chat box. So I'll change that. I'll close that down. I just want to see how it was kind of using it live on stream. But of course, I'll actually get that adjusted. We'll make sure it is all good for next time. Again, just pulling up the chat as well. DJ Pollywood in the house. What's popping in the population? What are your thoughts on the Interpol polemic, big homie? Yeah, that's I mean, we knew about this news back in September. Maybe not the most wanted blah blah situation, but this is part of the reason why I loved staking Hex in the first place. The reason that kind of drew me in the, I was talking with the Patreon group in the Telegram, and one of the things that really kind of drew me to have a mindset shift to not be so affected emotionally or make some sort of emotional decision based on the news event that's happening was staking Hex. And I know we got a whole bunch of other stuff happening right now on the ecosystem, especially with PULSECHAIN being out, PulseX being here. We got farms over here. You got this new DEX. You got this new token. You got this new group, this new community. There's a lot more going on than whenever I first found Hex. And don't get me wrong, there were still plenty of cryptos going on. But for our community, it was just mainly Hex. So it was a lot easier for me to actually stake. And I know this is like one of the crazy items, or maybe mine hex. I don't know whatever term you want to call it nowadays. But one of the things that really benefited me there was going out long and sending a stake out 55-55, because I already had the mindset that I wanted to retire by a certain age, essentially, right? So if I had stayed in the Marine Corps and I'd done my 20 years, and technically you could retire after 20 years, and that would put me at 38 years old. So I'd already have a goal, and I said, hey, if it takes me a few more years in my civilian life to go ahead and retire, then let's go ahead and do that. And so that was already my mindset, basically, whenever I found hex. And I said, what if I'm 43 by the time I retire? Like, that's still pretty damn good. So send it out 15 years, you know what I mean? Like, send it on out and let's have some fun. And that wasn't too hard of a decision for me to go out and do something like that. It was the ability to switch the mindset. And so whenever something did happen, some news, some FUD, the uncertainty that's out there, I had my hex staked, and I was like, hey man, it's sent out in the future anyway, so what am I gonna do? End my stakes early and take a penalty? Nah, I'll wait. And it helped me kind of control the emotional roller coaster that is crypto in general. People are experiencing it not only from our ecosystem, like right now with the RH ecosystem and the Interpol notice that just went out and about, but it's already happening from like Bitcoin and Ethereum and all these other crypto tokens that are out there. Everyone has their own little moment of FUD, or again, that uncertainty. And the markets don't like uncertainty, man. They really don't. Which is why you saw whenever Jerome Powell came out and talked, last week, the markets basically shot the F down. And that wasn't just crypto in general. That was like all markets that just shot down. And it was this uncertainty that, are we only getting 2 rate cuts next year? Are we doing this? And are we only getting 2 in 2026? Do you believe we actually are avoiding a recession? And that uncertainty right there caused the market to just crash. You know what I mean? Like, pretty damn hard. And that was across the board for everyone. But again, back to the question, right? What is my thoughts on the Interpol thing? Like, yeah, I don't really care one way or another, right? It shouldn't affect any of the prices. The fact that people are letting it, you know, who cares if the man has not paid taxes, or who cares if the man gets arrested? Like, the tokens and products are already out there. Hex is still going to pay you every single day based on the amount of T-shares that you have through the mining of the hex. People are going to end up earning the incentive token by being in the farm. The decentralized exchange is already out and about. And so it's one of those situations that I'm like, it's here already. We are already decentralized. So who gives an F what is going on in that man's life? And I know it makes the news and I understand all that, but I think I saw a Hexo stream the other day where people were still buying FTT tokens, y'all. Like, the dude's in jail for true fraud. You know what I mean? Like, spending life, ain't coming out of jail situation. And, you know, people are still buying up the tokens. And so it's like, do they even have a purpose at that point? Like, no. But people are still out there buying them up because whatever reason they believe in the future of, or what could possibly be, or maybe they have their own, you know, false fallacy or whatever they want to call it, where it allows them to believe that they're going to end up getting a 10x, 100x on their token, whatever the case may be. Maybe they think SBF's going to get freed and he's going to get released and blah, 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 blah. So, like, the way the market reacts in our ecosystem is horrendous, guys. Like, RH tweets something and the market takes it one way or another about positive or negative, and then has this wild freaking reaction. And it's not RH selling the tokens. He makes a tweet, he makes a statement, he says what he sees, right? And so we always want him to be like forthcoming, tell us what's going on, talk to us, RH, you know what I mean? And then he goes and talks to us and the market's like, oh, fucking sell! And then they just go and dump everything, and then it's like, oh, push, dump it all, right? It's like, bro, what an overreaction to anything happening right now. And heck, guys, if you were able to buy that dip lately, or, you know, over the last couple days, congratulations, you know what I mean? Like, smoked it, you know what I mean? Like, you had already quite a bit of gains on that particular item. Heck, let's just pull up the chart real fast. Let me just kind of share the screen and make sure that we're on the right screen and all that good stuff real quick. But you know, like to anyone who was out there, they absolutely made a killing on that, right? And so, you know, whenever I pop this up right here, like this is a pulse chain chart. And guys, by the way, like just FYI, typically in a bull market, you have your halving, you start taking profits 40 weeks after the halving, you continue taking profits until about 80 weeks after the halving, and then you stop, and then you let the market die, you let whatever happens, blah, 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 blah. Simple as that. But, you know, look at this little dip, and it gets on weekly, granted, you know what I mean? But even if we put this on the daily, it was still a pretty harsh reaction right here. Like people just absolutely lost their freaking mind, 41% in a day. And they're like, oh my God, dump it, right? And like, okay, cool. But then for the people who happen to buy that dip, you know, they're already up, you know, 34% already at that point in time, 35%. And this is just the pulse chain ecosystem. Hex saw something even better for the actual gain as well. I think Hex is already up, you know, at 2x as well from that particular dip. So it's already recovering at this point. Typically, if you do get a news event like this or anything crazy and you see a nice V-shaped recovery like this, that is absolutely very bullish. You know what I mean? So as I'm looking at the charts right here and just seeing that little V-shaped recovery, even if we can get back up here by the end of the year and just kind of keep on trekking like we already were in the first place, then congratulations. You know, like, so one of the things that happened, so this article, I don't know if I have it pulled up here. This article, 20 Telegraph, same thing happened, except for now he's on, you know, most wanted or whatever the case may be. I was seeing something, basically it was along the lines of this already happened like 3 months ago. Dude, let me find that little article real fast. Give me 1 second, guys. EU most wanted. Feels like I read something about this weeks ago. Okay, cool. So I think it was this article. Was this already it? Did I already have it pulled up? Yeah, okay, cool. So it was right here. I just, you know, forgot that I already had it pulled up. So this is basically the same exact article that happened back in September, right? This is 3 months ago. Finnish police suspect US crypto influencer of gross tax evasion and assault. Like this is already a thing. And I believe the date was like September 18th, if I recall correctly, from whenever I was pulling this up. And what's funny is if you go back and just look at the chart, you know, from the September 18th time frame, right? Like here's September 18th, and dude, we started rallying at that, whether or not people believed it was fake news or whether or not people just didn't care, or maybe it just didn't reach the amount of people that, you know, who saw it this time. Like PulseChain, kind of a similar situation back September 18th, you know, back over here, boom, you know, we started rallying up, and then heck, dude, we continued that rally all the way up until really where we are right now. So, you know, looking back even here, it almost dipped as low as that little September situation. And could we just kind of recover? Heck, even if, you know, let's just kind of pull up a fun little bars pattern here. Like, let's just say it goes from September to where it is today, right? And we end up kind of doing something like this. We already got that little dip. So I'll just start from here. So we end up getting this little dip, and, you know, granted, this isn't the exact item, but this is kind of what it would look like. I think we go a lot faster than this at this point because, you know, at this point in time, this is really only a 2.5x, and we're about to enter into really the bull market, guys. Like, I understand, like everyone says, we've already kind of entered the bull market. Yeah, we kind of have. Bitcoin kind of got a little bit of a stall out, which is, I talked about it on the previous stream as well. You know, Bitcoin could potentially go back down, even down to, you know, 70K, and I know that would that would shock everybody at that point in time. But I mean, there's true TA showing that 70K would be a very strong support level, especially after a rally like this, to actually come back down and you know, test this level and bounce off it as a support. Now, do we go that low because of the ETFs and everyone out there now? I don't know. You know, I'm just saying, like, if it does get down to the 70s, it wouldn't be so unheard of. You know what I mean? Like, I just want to share that. Again, this is a 33% dip, you know, 35% dip. Nothing too crazy. We've seen these dips before in crypto. So my thoughts on the whole situation is people are just way overreacting, which, hey man, if you want to react emotionally every single time there's some sort of news event that happens, it's just a bad time to, you know, whenever I would react emotionally on shit, it just didn't end well, right? Like, whenever I would react emotionally, whether it be trading or whether it be investing or whether it be trying to take action, it typically didn't end up with the result that I actually thought I would, right? And so even for the people, you know, who talked about swapping the whole hex to, you know, swapping all of their e-hex into hex back in the day when it was doing its little, you know, dump as well. I don't know if y'all remember that whole situation. I'm sure y'all kind of can recall a similar situation when that actually went down. Here we go. I think it was this chart right here, if I'm not mistaken. E-hex to hex, and they just compare it against each other. This is a situation where, again, back in the day, dude, like when this whole thing went down in the first place, everyone just lost their freaking mind. Whoops, not sharing. This was a situation where everyone just lost their mind, right? They were like, "Oh my god," you know, that was the kill tweet, as everyone likes to call it, and heck, even I like to call it that too. RH said, "Hey, it looks like people are choosing hex on PulseChain over e-hex," and then there was like, "Fucking sell e-hex," and just boom, dumped, and like a lot of people swapped all of their e-hex all the way down here for p-hex, and that's not the ratio that you want, because, you know, you saw it recover pretty soon after, right? Like, granted, this is all the way back up at 2x in essentially 100 days, you know, almost went up, you know, almost 3x in, you know, 180 days. Now, granted, it's bounced around, it's had some fun, you know, this is another fun situation where someone said something once again and the market's like, "Oh no," or BankX started selling, or whatever the heck the news was. Again, like, I'm not going to remember every news event, and most of the time when you look at all of these charts as well, you're not going to go and remember all these news events. You're not going to be like, "This happened on this day and this was what was going on during that time." Like, sure, you could, you know, there's going to be some people that can recall, you know, those types of events as well, and hey, to each their own. But most of the time you do this, you look at a chart and you say, "Hey, we were down here at one point in time, I bought. We were up here at one point in time, I sold. Congratulations, you crushed the game," right? And that's as simple as it usually is. And right now, essentially, when you're looking at the PulseChain ecosystem, you know, this is kind of that weekly chart, like, "Hey, I bought down here and, you know, gonna sell up here. Cool, congratulations." Like, I don't really care whatever happens, all this little in-between noise. It could dip down, it could drop further, it could go back up, and could start pumping. Like, I don't give two F's about it, man. Like, in all reality, I'm looking at this from a standpoint of, we haven't even entered the bull market, guys. Like, we haven't even entered the 40 weeks after the halving, and this is what really matters. January to February of 2025 should absolutely be a time to possibly start taking some profit, guys. You know what I mean? Like, because on average, when you end up doing this between January to February, all the way up until basically the end of the year, October, November, you've essentially been able to start crushing the game, right? I just went over a whole Patreon profit-taking plan of beginner level, advanced level, and expert level profit-taking strategies. Just released that on the Patreon group as well. If you don't want to join the Patreon, that's cool as well. You can actually end up going and just purchasing it directly. If you just want to see the videos, a 2-hour-long in-depth video about how to take profits, different levels of taking profits, and best way to do it. Anyone is able to join as well. For $5 a month, you get access to not only myself and a group of Telegram of like-minded individuals that truly love this ecosystem for what it is, and truly are here for the benefit of not only themselves but also the rest of the community as well. Of course, you also get access to all my previous Patreon streams as well, which I've done 83 at this point in time. Now I do one every single week. We go through all the depths and details, and of course share all the different strategies of how to actually make it and survive in the whole crypto landscape, guys. It's a crazy world. It really is. You see the emotional reactions. And again, anyone who wants to join, link is down below. Again, it is able to join the 5P community at just patreon.com/ATXCrypto. Anyone is welcome to join, and we'd love to have you as well. But I wanted to share that as well because, guys, like, you can have some sort of strategy. I just want to share to have some sort of strategy. You know what I mean? Like, that is all that I can say on this one. Many times when people get in this game, they have a tough time figuring out whatever it is that they actually want to end up doing. They have a tough time seeing, you know, how they actually want to partake and where they want to go and how they want to actually see things. So I just wanted to share that with everyone. It is available, again, to anyone. Much love to everyone who's here. But yeah, you know, keeping all that in mind, guys, keeping all that in mind. So yeah, let me just see real fast. I see Tin Top once again. Beautiful weather. Hey, dude, love that. Beautiful barbecue weather. Much love. Chilling and grilling for Xmas. Much love, much love. Checks my pulse. What's up? Good evening. Good evening, Hexicans. 55 Xmas. What's up, Crispy? Guys, this is gonna be a crazy thing to say, but staking my hex allowed me to avoid the emotional pitfalls that I would have normally fallen for. Because when you start seeing panic in the market as quickly as you see it, it's very easy to get caught up in the situation and say, oh my gosh, I need to go get out. I need to go join. I need to go figure this out as well, right? And so this allows not only you, but of course everyone else to benefit long term, man. Because hey, who knows what the future holds, right? And if you don't have the ability to send something out 55-55, then you really got to be looking in the mirror. Because at the end of the day, even if you just sent out, dude, I don't even know, $100 15 years into the future, and I'm saying like if that's all you can afford, then so be it. But it starts adjusting your mind. And I think everyone needs that mindset shift. I think it's something that's missing quite often. Everyone's looking for the instant returns, the instant gratification, the I could have it now situation, the I could have it right now mindset. And that's true. You know, everyone wants to get mad gains this cycle, and congratulations, we're about to be able to see mad gains this cycle. I've pulled it up before as well, looking at the potential profits of what could potentially be. But guys, these are just some of the levels that you can look at, from the all-time lows of these tokens to what could potentially be a 10x, 25, 50, 75x, or even all the way up to a 10,000x on these numbers. And again, that would put PULSECHAIN at 25 cents. It would put the PulseX token at 8 cents. Like, these numbers get pretty damn ridiculous for sure. Who knows what levels that we end up hitting? Say, you know, Hex on PulseChain ends up doing 1000x. Hex on Ethereum ends up doing a 400x. PulseChain ends up doing a 500x or even a 200x. I don't really know. PulseX goes and does a 500x. All these numbers are for you to be able to see, take a screenshot of right now, have some fun. Type in what your portfolio is right now. So if you're sitting on, I don't know, we'll say 100 million PulseChain tokens and 100 million PulseX tokens, and the sucker goes off to reach 100x from the all-time low, that is damn good money. You know what I mean? You start getting into a situation where you do 100 million tokens right here, and you multiply that by 0.00258, that is $258,000. You do that times the PulseX number as well, and hey, maybe PulseX surpasses. That's gonna be a crazy day, should that ever happen, by the way, too, y'all. Crazy day. Because I could definitely see a potential possibility where PulseX actually flips PulseChain. I know that's crazy to say, but all the tokens so far at this point have been outperforming PulseChain. But here's where people get lost. They get lost saying, if I went all in on one token, I could have had so much more. And again, that is true. That is correct. When you say that kind of stuff, you're not wrong when you say this kind of stuff, right? If you go all in on PulseX and it outperforms all of the tokens, then you end up having a very good chance to perform very well. However, you also run the risk of watching all of the other tokens do crazy things, right? And what I mean by do crazy things is you run the risk over here where PulseChain now begins outperforming PulseX. And then you have this weird FOMO mindset, regret mindset, that you start doubting everything that you were investing in and purchasing. And you're like, dude, should I have even done that in the first place? The INK token's already back up to 225. Congrats on the INK on that one. You know what I mean? We're almost back up to that, you know, 4 zeros and a 6 like we've been at for quite some time for PulseChain at this point, right? If you go back over here, we've been at this level pretty much for several months now, right? We kind of look back over here. We've been floating in this range for a little while. We're just back and retesting out some levels we've already tested previously. So we've kind of seen what can happen. We almost got damn close to getting back up to SAC. I think we were about 11% away from SAC. You know, like that would have been pretty darn cool. It was like 11, 12% away from reaching back to SAC. But hey, maybe it wasn't the time. Maybe that just is what it is. And if you had the opportunity to buy, congratulations, you got yourself even more of some tokens that have a good potential to do a massive run up. But yeah, man, Staking Hex absolutely saved me from me, right? And so at the end of the day, every single one of y'all are gonna see the portfolio increase during this bull run. Every single one of y'all, depending upon if you sold or if you don't take any profit, no matter what the situation is when the bear market comes and the pump stops and the music stops playing, the pump and the market just begins to dip, you're going to see the portfolio drop. This is where everyone loses their mind and they're like, man, if I wasn't staked and I could have been this and I would have been this, and the woulda, coulda, shouldas, right? I should have taken profit. I would have done this if we had just hit this. And like, don't live that life, man. Do something, take action. If you don't take action, live with the consequences of not taking any action, or live with consequences knowing that it's gonna be okay because you've already planned for this long term. I've already planned for 15 years in this ecosystem, guys. I'm still sending out 55/55s myself today, right? If I have a stake end and it's not enough to be able to actually do something and change something in my life right now, I wait, I build a position and I recumulate a certain amount and then I just send it out long again. Hey, I'll see you again in 15 years, buddy. Right? Like, that's the way I'm living. And some people just can't fathom that concept, and that's okay. You know, staking isn't for everyone, or mining isn't for everyone. You know, but you get the max reward at least at 10 years. And y'all seen, you know, the compound interest growth, but the difference between that, you know, 1 year to 10-year mark is essentially quite a bit of additional hex that you could end up making. But the difference between the 10-year to 15-year could end up actually tripling even that number as well. Because the numbers get pretty damn big, guys. The numbers get pretty damn big as to what the potential future payout per T-share is going to be in hex. Right? That's true. All right. And so just something to keep in mind. Crispy Man does have a whole chart on this. Been a while since I've actually checked out his website on it. So let's just see if I can pull up a potential item over here. So hex share rate, daily payout per T-share. Let's see what this pulls up right now. I think this is a similar chart that I'm talking about. What's up, Hex Evolved? Bong Bong. Merry Xmas. Merry Hexmas. Love seeing that. Happy Christmas Eve, y'all. Lol. Oh, that is funny, man. Too funny. So this one doesn't quite get into like the further future years, and you know, I'm sure there's if you had like the paid membership or something like that, I know he has a group as well that you can end up getting quite a bit more information on. But like, this just kind of gives you an idea. Like back whenever I was first getting into Hex, right, the payout per T-share was all the way back here, right? Whoops. It used to show numbers on the actual screen right now. Am I just missing the numbers right now? Okay, so anyways, I don't want to get too crazy with it, but the payout per T-share was roughly about 6 hex per T-share that you would end up getting. There it goes. Jesus Christ. I was like, where are you numbers? So the payout per T-share was roughly like, you know, you can see this right here, 5.79. This is around the time whenever I was getting in, right? And so you're looking at 5.8, 5.79, 6 hex per T-share. This is in the beginning stages of 2021. You go into the later stage of 2021, you start kind of getting closer to that 6 hex per T-share on average, and this actual payout per T-share you can see was roughly about 6.08. You started getting into 2022 and that number continued to increase, and now you're looking at, okay, cool, now we're getting into 6 hex per T-share, 6.25 on average, right? This is an average number that you begin getting every single day on this T-share, and then you're like, okay, cool, by 2023 now you're getting into this range of like 6.5 per T-share, 7 per T-share. Now we're almost up to 7 per T-share on this one, right? That's a pretty damn good average right here. And again, we're just in 2023 right now. You start getting into 2024 like we've been in over the last year, right? At this point in time, you start getting a payout per T-share of like 7 hex per T-share, 7.4 hex per T-share, 7.5 hex per T-share. Let's go further into the future, and just by 2026, on average, it's anticipated. Oh man, it's a little bit tough to see. I just kind of looked down at my screen right now. Let me just see if I can kind of zoom in on the actual chart so y'all can hopefully see it a little bit better. Oh, come on, work in here. Now that I zoomed in, it won't pull up on the chart, and I gotta hide myself. 1 second. All right, so this is back whenever you start getting into the end of 2026, guys. You're looking at almost an average of 10 hex per T-share, right? And so like that's almost an additional 30% increase in the amount of hex per T-share that you're going to get just by staking out into 2026 and beyond. And when you start looking into the further numbers into the future from there, like you got, getting into the 2034 range, these numbers start getting into like 25, 30 hex per T-share. They get massive in the future as well, right? And if you're able to almost triple the amount of hex that you're going to get just by staking out your hex right now, dude, that is a absolute win, right? And this is what it's all about. Yeah, everybody listen to ATX, right? Appreciate that. Yeah, baby. Yeah, dude. This is what got me hooked in the first place. Whenever I was figuring out hex, whenever I was first learning about it, was looking at charts like this and data points like this. Dude, these data points aren't a joke, guys. Like, this is true, factual, actual information of what has happened, right? In the early stage of hex, when you first staked it, you were getting 1 hex per T-share, and I wasn't here during this time by any means, but in the early stage of you being staked in hex, you were getting 1, 2, possibly even 3 hex per T-share. That was, yeah, some incentive to end up doing it, but it wasn't that like massive grasp to end up doing it, right? And so the further that you go, it also costs more hex to get 1 T-share, right? And so in this early stage of getting hex, it was like 10,000 hex per T-share. And then you start getting into 20,000 hex per T-share. And now we're in the stage of 34,000 hex per T-share, guys. Like, and that number is going to increase. So by the time we are into 2026 as well, and I think there's also another chart on that too, right? The T-share, total T-share forecast, T-shares versus price. Is it one of these right here? I can't quite remember. All in ranked T-shares. I forget the exact one over here for which one it was, but this, yeah, T-share per price over here. This isn't, this isn't quite the chart I was looking at. Let me just go to like Hex daily stats real fast and just kind of pull up. Oh, I think I already had it pulled up. Hexstats.today is what it is now. So I already had this chart pulled up from earlier, and I'm just refreshing it real quick. But you can see it's to get 1 hex now, it's 39,000, or to get 1 T-share now on the Ethereum network, it's 39,727 hex per T-share, right? That's a pretty decent amount of hex if you ask me, right? To get 1 T-share. Even on the PULSECHAIN network, it's 39,434. But guys, the average payout per T-share is 7.5 hex per T-share. That is freaking absolutely incredible. What's even more fun about the whole situation with the RH news that just recently happened, right? Like, when you look at the overall price charts, you can see a massive dip, like, right? This is a 70% dip in essentially a day. And granted, this is a weekly chart right now, but it was a massive dip that happened pretty damn fast. What's funny about it though is I expected to have more people in their stakes early out of fear or uncertainty or doubt or anything like that. And it didn't actually happen, guys. Like, there was no big payout per T-share. All the people who were staked in hex said, I don't give an F. Like, I'm staked, man. I don't care what the news is doing right now. But usually when you have some sort of like news event like this that shakes people out, this is when you start seeing massive penalties because there's penalties when you end your stake early, right? And so it's called emergency end staking penalties. And those penalties are then divvied up to the actual staking class as well. And so the people who commit to their word and say, I'm going to stake out 15 years or I'm going to stake out a year or 2 years or 5 years or whatever that number is, and you continue to actually maintain that mining stake reward. If you don't end it early, anyone who does end theirs early is going to be divvied up across all the stakers as well. And so I expected to see a massive payout per T-share. I honestly did, with the amount of overall hex that was a 70% dump. There's either way too many people holding liquid hex right now that need to just get their emotions in control by staking out longer and having more emotional control over your fucking life right now. But there are just way too many people who just lost their freaking mind as to what went down. And the payout per T-share wasn't any really difference than what it's been. We've been getting on average about 7.5, and we got 7.7 and 7.84, even on the PULSECHAIN network as well. Same situation, right? 7.6, 7.5, and again, even on the PULSECHAIN network, it was around 7.3 on average. So it wasn't this massive penalty that I actually thought I would end up seeing. You still have an average mining length of 6.67 years. That's pretty incredible, guys. Even on the Ethereum network, it's 7.33 years. That's pretty incredible, guys. Like, you have to understand, Hex is already 5 years old, right? So like all these original OGs who were here back in the early days of Hex, if they did a 15-year stake, that sucker is already a third of the way through. A third of the way through, guys. And it happened like that. I mean, shit, I've been around since 2021, right? And it's like that. 15 years isn't as long as people think. But I actually thought there would be a lot more people that ended their stakes early. And because of that, they didn't end their stakes early. They actually understand staking Hex, in my opinion. They actually understand the concept and premise of, you know, okay, cool, I'm going to stake it so that way I don't have to worry about what ends up happening. I'm going to stake my Hex so that way I don't even have to worry about whatever news event there is right now. Is Gwei really 8 right now? That's pretty cheap, guys. If you're looking to transact on the Ethereum network, dude, 6 Gwei? Dude, do something right now, guys. If you're looking to transact on the Ethereum network, whether it be sending something somewhere, whether it be bridging assets into PulseChain, whether it be doing anything, ending a stake or starting a stake or whatever the case would be. So the way I do it, keep it simple, guys. Keep it super simple. I build up my position over on Hex on PulseChain. I build up my eHex position on PulseChain. So every single time that I'm looking to build my position, I don't buy eHex on Ethereum because you have to pay so much in gas fees that it just doesn't make sense, right? But guys, what you can do is you can just buy your tokens over on PulseChain, and you can actually come right over here and say, hey, I just want to exchange. I'm going to swap my stable coin, or I'm going to swap my token, my tokens that I've made profit on, or whatever the case that you've ended up doing, and you buy your Hex from Ethereum right over here. You just literally type in Hex, you get Hex from Ethereum right here, boom, I've already got it selected, and then you say, hey, I'm going to buy $500 worth of Hex on Ethereum. When you end up doing that, you get 116,000 Hex from Ethereum right here. Whenever you end up in this situation and you build up and accumulate enough that you would like to actually stake it and send it out long, because I've always been a fan of this concept. You build your Hex, you accumulate your Hex. When you have enough accumulated, you send it out and you stake it out so that way you can reap further rewards further into the future. Yes, you can see some financial return this time around, and yes, you can see the ability for the market to end up going up as well. Give me 1 second. So at this point in time, you can actually see the overall difference, and you can say, hey, I can see the price go up. Like, let's just say Hex reaches $1 on Ethereum this cycle, right? Because Hex is at $3 over on PulseChain right now, or whatever the case may be. Yes, that could end up being $116,000 of cash available to you, sure. Or you can send it out, stake it out long, because you should have other positions as well. It shouldn't just be like one token to rule them all, right? You shouldn't just have PulseX. And again, not financial advice. Do whatever you want to do at the end of the day. But there should be other tokens that you can take profit on. And your Hex, you can think long term and say, hey, I'm going to worry about you in the future, my friend. I'll see you in 15 years. You accumulate all this Hex. Say you wanted to stake out 250,000. Cool. Well, obviously you don't have 250,000 in this situation, right? All you have to do is end up doing this, where you end up getting another purchase next time. And you say, cool, I got this $600 purchase because I got paid and I want to buy some more Hex. Well, now you have essentially close to 250,000. Now you've accumulated your Hex. You take your eHex that you have and you bridge it over into Ethereum. You only bridge whenever the fee for gas fees are stupid freaking cheap. 8 Gwei, below 10 Gwei, 7 Gwei. Dude, this is when you transact. This is when you execute that plan. Because once you bridge it over in roughly about 25 minutes or so, you're going to be able to claim it on the Ethereum side. When you claim it on the Ethereum side, you can actually just go right into stake.hex.today, go to a website, stake your Hex, boom, 15 years. And you pay very little in gas fees. And you worry about that sucker in the future. You say, hey man, I'll check in you in a little bit. See ya. See ya. That chart goes hockey sticks as T-shares disappear from existence. It really does, man. It really does. When Acosa V2 gets released, we have better opportunities to buy wrap stakes. I'm not a fan of wrapped stakes. I'm not a fan of perpetuals. I like to just stake my hex, man. Keep it OG. Keep it as simple as I possibly can. You know, stake your hex on multiple wallets in case one of them does get compromised for whatever reason. That way, in the worst case scenario, you still have some staked as well. But yeah, I'm not a fan of like wrapped hex stakes. I'm not a fan of, you know, the way the ICOSA protocol worked in the first place. And it's not necessarily anything against ICOSA, but I know a lot of people were basically getting their hex stakes as like NFTs, and that's cool. And you can obviously transfer if you ever get compromised to a different wallet. So if you connect to a malicious website or DApp and maybe they don't know that you have your hex staked, you can send it over into a non-compromised wallet if you make it in time, all that good stuff. There's benefits to that, sure, you know, but like, I just want to have the original. I'm not any fan of like perpetuals. You won't see me talking about any of them as well. Whether or not they do good, could care less, honestly, because they have set windows that you have to be able to extract from, and if you don't extract it at that time, it automatically locks you up again. It's just more work than, you know, you need to do, and it's not something that I'm going to partake in myself. I'd much rather just stake or mine my own hex and have it simple as well there as well. Miner and stakers have diamond hands for the most part. Well, clearly, I mean, shit, dude, like, there was a 70% dip and not anyone was ending their stakes early. Sure, there were some penalties. Okay, cool. But like on the days where there is actual true panic in the market, that's when you actually get a pretty decent payout per T-share, right? Like this is when you start looking at these situations, like 60 hex per T-share, March 13th, 2024. What did that was someone that was hacked or whatever, right? May 23rd of 2024, there was a 39 payout per T-share on this one. What was going on during that time, right? Let's just pull up the hex chart real quick. This is hex on Ethereum real fast. Let me just kind of pull this up. So May, yeah, so March right here, boom. This is that 60 hex per T-share, right? And I could probably end up doing this on the 3 days at least as well, just to kind of zoom on in over here. But you can kind of see back over here, boom, right? March 10th or whatever the case may be. And what day was it that was a 60 hex per T-share? March 13th. Yeah, so we're within this window right here where people massively exited out as quickly as they possibly could to end all of their stakes early. And if you were staked that day in the hex ecosystem in Ethereum and you didn't end it early, you actually got a payout per T-share of 60.5 hex per T-share. 60.5 hex per T-share, guys. And let's just assume for S's and G's, you had even just 100 hex or 100 T-shares. That was 6,000 hex that you got paid that one day just from staking. Not doing anything else, not doing anything crazy, not buying it on the open market. Literally a 60 hex per T-share payout. And if you had 1,000 hex per T-shares, then you end up getting 60,000 hex on that one day alone, or 1,000 T-shares. That gave you 60,000 hex on this one day of just being staked. And we're around the same price. Like, the funny part is, this was back when the price was 0.0024, right? And you look at the chart right now and you see it over here of where it currently is. It's 0.004, so it's essentially up 2x already from that point in time. But people just lost their mind, and that is what I expect whenever I talk about like panic in the market. We came down and we actually retested out this trend line right here. Hilarious that I've had this trend line drawn really since August. We actually came back down, retested this trend line, and bounced right off it. Granted, it went a little bit below it, sure. But it held a pretty strong support there, and it's actually doing a pretty good job pushing it back up again. If you're looking to purchase again, I was saying these were great little opportunities before we had the little FUD event news. I was thinking those are pretty damn good opportunities to be seeing it on the chart as well, because I think we're again about to enter into that banana taking zone, that banana zone right here, right? And again, I've talked about it before, but come January, some point in time, probably look to start taking some profits, guys. Not financial advice, obviously. But yeah, that's clear as day that people had a lot more diamond hands. A lot more diamond hands when it came down to being staked, to being mining hex, to the OGs who were there. 55, not financial advice. Everyone who should do, or at least consider 1T share. Dude, we pulled up the math before on this one, on this today too. Stakehex.today was a website you can actually kind of guesstimate kind of how much you would end up getting overall, right? And so that way you can kind of say like, if I did this, and how much could I potentially end up seeing if something was to happen, right? And so just to kind of give y'all like an idea real fast, I'll be a little bit less. I think it was like 80. Yeah, that gives you pretty much 70. Yeah, okay, cool. 75. Cool. So this basically gives you like 1T share right here. So you go to like stakehex.today if you ever want to just kind of play out this kind of stuff. It would cost roughly around 16,000 hex to actually stake it out. Easy way to do the math on this, if you're ever wanting to figure out how much to get 1T share, just divide this number by 3, because if you stake it out 10 years, you get a 200% bonus, which means it costs less hex to actually end up staking it out. Divide that number by 3, and that'll essentially give you how much hex to stake out for 55.55 or even 36.50, anything above 10 years really. But this gives you roughly about 1T share. When you end up doing this 1T share as well, you can kind of end up seeing some numbers if you were just kind of estimating what could potentially be further into the future, right? And so you're like looking all the way out here. Oh, did I do multiple stakes? I did 10 stakes. Whoops. I did not mean to do 10 stakes. I didn't see that it had 10 on that one. Cool. 70. 65. Let's just kind of get a little closer. 60. All right, cool. So a little bit, anywhere between there. 63. Somewhere in this little zone. When you end up staking this out, again, long story short, I'm getting a little bit sidetracked overall, but this kind of gives you like what could potentially be. So what is essentially like $60 right now, even just reaching a penny, guys. Like this is saying that this sucker only gets up to a penny in this situation, right? Like nothing too crazy, but it still turned into $1,100 on that one. So that's a pretty damn good return on your investment. It's an 18x return. Even in 15 years, guys, yes, crypto is a lot more crazy, a lot more practical, but you're not going to see typically an 18x return on your capital, even in the stock market or real estate or anything like that. And then you start getting a little bit crazier and say, all right, well, let's just assume we have a potential to maybe even just reach 10 cents into the future. Like what does that look like? Okay, cool. $8,400, right? And then you start getting into like even further, and that's 135x return on that $60. You get even further ahead and say like, oh my God, let's just say we end up reaching the magical $1 in 15 years. It took us 15 years to do it, but geez, by golly, I finally made it. You still turned $60 into $86,000 at that point in time. This is just one of those easy things that you can adjust, you can play with, you can see. Again, stakehex.today is the name of this website. But like, this is when things get pretty damn crazy. And again, a 1300x return. Like, wow, right? Something that costs you $60 today. And granted, like, what if there's a point in time where this sucker ends up going all the way up here to the highest levels of like, you know, even up to like $20 by the time this comes around, and then in 15 years the sucker's only $1, for example. Like, even in this situation, right, this is where everyone's gonna be like, oh man, you shouldn't have been staked and all that good stuff, but you still turned $63 into $86,000 potentially. Like, what are you freaking smoking right now, right? Like, that is absolutely an incredible turn. Again, guys, this is just me playing around with some numbers. You can adjust all these numbers yourself, play around with some charts, play around with some fun, but hey, you should at least consider getting 1T share in the future for sure. QC Organics, what's up? Merry Christmas. Is the tree still up? Hell yeah, the tree's still up. Crypto Bendu. Hell yeah, the crypto tree, the tree's still up, my friend. Hedron's free money for stakers. Yep. Merry Christmas, bro. Yeah, that icosahedron is bottom line too complex for the average Joe. I mean, it's a good premise, you know what I mean? But yeah, just talking, like, it's so much easier to talk to someone about a meme coin pumping and being like, dude, this thing's a dog and it has a cool picture, you should buy it. And people are like, oh my God, we should buy it. But like, you go with Hex and you're like, this is actually a solid crypto. It's got a fully completed product. It is here for the long haul. Nothing about it's ever going to change. It's been working flawlessly for 5 years. And they're like, yeah, that sounds like a lot of work, man. I don't know. Stakehex.today is the name of the site. About chicka wow wow. Facts on facts, man. Yeah, man, I just wanted to have some fun. I wanted to get a stream out, obviously, before Christmas. I wanted to let everyone know that everything is gonna be all right. Right, like at this point in time, we've seen dips like this already in the past, and even on the rally up, guys. Like, this isn't something that is unheard of, right? If you go to hexchart.com, right, if you ever just wanted to look at like the entire hex chart from like Uniswap and everything like that, from the early days, if you will, of whenever it was, and you can kind of see everything from all the way back in the day for what this token was. There were multiple times on the run up of 60, 70, 80% dips. Like, again, just to briefly pull it up, and then I'll probably be, heading out, shortly. But this is back in the early days. This is back in, May of 2020, for example. This dip, let me just throw on a little magnet. Cool, magnets on. So this was a 44% dip. In fact, it actually went down as low as 53% as well during this little dip before it did a little rally back up again. So you can kind of see a nice little 43% dip all the way here, 52% dip all the way here. Bam, once that ended up happening, guess what? We got another dip as well. We actually started running up once again. You actually ended up coming all the way down to a 68% dip, right? There was another pretty big dip. Everyone's like, man, this is it. That's the end. That was a fun run while it was. And then you got the big payday dip. I think a lot of people are more familiar with this dip than a lot of the dips in the ecosystem, but this was, an 83, 85% dip on this one candle wick alone type deal. Like, this one candle actually ended up smoking out roughly about 70%. Once again, something very similar to the numbers that we just saw today as well. And this is all the way back here, 001, conveniently, funny enough that we were around this same little zone of actually how it ended up playing out. And then you ended up getting that little rally that, basically started, guess what, in January. And yeah, there was a dip in January, right? Like, expect a dip in January. This is something that I've been kind of like talking about for a little while. There's another 50, 60% dip, 55% dip here before once again it actually rallied up, and guess what, dipped down another 47%. Guess what, rallied up, dipped down once again another 35, 40%, right? And like, these dips are going to happen, guys, but if you just essentially can last through that volatility as well, let's just kind of do something fun, and that's actually just take a quick little bars pattern from, where's the bars pattern on this chart right here? What am I missing? Bars pattern, here you go. Let's just kind of do exactly like this, right? So we actually saw this little, the dip all the way back down here. Cool. So we're going to start here, and we're going to go into of course, the rally that was, right? The actual, all-time high situation where you got to see a pretty good dip as well. So if you just end up doing something like this, we move this chart on over, we move it over to where we are today. 1 second, let me just kind of get this adjusted and kind of, put this on the actual chart as well. And you could probably see something like this playing out. Oh my gosh, go a little faster. There it goes. You could probably see something like this playing out. Like, we saw a pretty good dip. And again, like, this is already being a little bit more aggressive as well. But you can kind of see how this could end up playing out all the way back up here. And this could potentially be what happens, right? I'm not saying this is absolutely going to be what ends up happening, but by the end of 2025, you start looking at that 56-cent range again. So you got your little dippity doo-dah, and you see that little dip once again. And congratulations, the dip was here. I think it's going to be a lot crazier overall. I think it's going to be something more so. Oh my god, this is so difficult to move whatever the mouse is doing. But I think we end up always getting all the way back up there. And yeah, this is a fun little dip. Hey man, congrats, you had the chance to buy, you had the good opportunity. We get a little rally into January, you see another little dip. You get a little rally into February, you see another little dip. A rally into like May timeframe once again. This is probably going to see another little dip into the summer. You start getting into that June, July, August, September timeframe. Yeah, dude, the bull market hasn't even actually shown up yet, y'all. It hasn't even shown up yet. So I hope that kind of gives a lot of different maybe perspectives as to what could potentially be for everybody in the future. Of course, I just want to say Merry Christmas to everyone as well. So much love to all the new support, all the new subscribers, all the channel members, all the Patreon. Much love to every single one of y'all, with the family, with the friends. I hope you all have a fantastic weekend. Remember that this is just a part of the game in the bull market cycle. Dips are going to happen. If you want to see mad gains, you're going to have to withstand a lot of these dips. If you can't withstand it, stop looking at the charts for a while and just come back in the future, but probably come back around March or April to at least see where your bag is at then. Other than that, guys, so much love. I hope everyone once again has a fantastic time, and I will catch all of y'all the next time I stream. Peace out.
I wanna be the best in the game, invest in my name, check no restraints, I'm obsessed with the pain. I ingest, I retain, assess and I change, possessed by the thought I'll be free one day from society's restraints. Money, clout and fame, mud, disease, a plague. We all love to hate, have to play the game, have to